Hello, I'm Peter Vaughan, and today I'm back at Cox's at Spencer's farm shop near Halstead in Essex. Been loaned a van by Pullinger's just down the road, and it is a Dethleffs Globebus Camp Active T1. Long name for a very short motorhome. Now, Dethleffs has been building these compact Globebus vans for a very, very long time, longer even than Dethleffs has been importing to the UK. So the Globebus name is very, very well established. But these days there are three types of Globebus. There's the Globebus I, A-Class, the Globebus Camp, Fiat-based low profile, and the Globebus Go on Ford. This Globebus Camp is a brand new range for 2025, and this Active T1 model was highly commended in the compact category in the Out and About Live Awards for 2025. Now, you can have your Globebus Camp as a standard model at £70,290. But nobody will, because this is the active version for £74,980. Let's call it 75 grand. And the active package gives you bits of exterior design, the rear light moulding, the reversing camera, an insulated wastewater tank, the Omni-Store wind-out awning, extensive chassis options including automatic air conditioning, digital speedometer, full LED headlights, LED daytime running lights, wireless phone charger, electric parking brake, and more, says Dethleffs. And as well, you get the Naviseva, the dashboard display with Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, and all that stuff. Then you get a special Jupiter upholstery, preparation for a second rear view camera, the Truma CP Plus digital control panel for the heating, and an illuminated kitchen splashback. So, after that, no more talk of options. Yes, this is a German van, and it doesn't have a list of options, well, 6 metres long. But what is 6 metres long is the van, or 5.99 metres to be precise, exactly the same length as a long wheelbase Fiat panel van. And, well, it's a little bit wider, but not massively so. As you can see, this is a narrower coach-built motorhome, 2.2 metres wide, or around 10 to 15 centimetres narrower than your typical coach-built or low-profile motorhome. That does make it a lot more manoeuvrable down little country lanes, and you'll see that the mirrors aren't on those wide arms, they're on the shorter van-type arms. Overall height is 2.73 metres, again, not much more than a high-top campervan. Gross vehicle weight is 3.5 tonnes, so you can drive it on a standard car licence, and payload with the active spec is 795 kilos, nearly 800 kilos. Well, you're not going to need more than that, are you? Have you got used to this new look Fiat front yet? I'm not sure, but I think this van does look quite sporty, doesn't it? If a motorhome can look sporty, well, this is a sort of GTI motorhome, if you like. Little red flashes along the front. And have you noticed too that nobody ever puts Fiat on the front? They put, in here, in this case, D for Dethleffs. But if it was a Mercedes, you'd have 3 pointed stars everywhere. Oh well. Standard engine, 140 horsepower, 2.2 litre diesel, and with the 6-speed manual gearbox. Yes, you can have an automatic, but that's a £3 grand option. Well, let's focus on what's standard, because there's plenty of standard kit, including these front fog lights and cornering lights, the 16-inch alloy wheels, these neat little marker lights. And then, well, this is a heater outlet, and the heating is Truma's 6 kilowatt diesel unit. Diesel only, not diesel and electric, but being 6 kilowatts in this little van, well, that should keep you toasty warm. Body construction is what Dethleffs call lifetime construction, and that's GRP skin on the outside of the walls, rear and roof. You get these framed windows. Back here, your toilet servicing hatch, and then, well, this looks like another toilet servicing hatch, doesn't it? But you haven't got two loos. Well, that would be silly in a 6-metre van, wouldn't it? It does give you access into a bit of storage. You can get to that space from inside as well, but a bit of useful storage in there. And then your freshwater tank, that's inboard, so fully winterised, and that's 115 litres. Wastewater tank is underslung, but it's insulated, and you just have one of these little keys to add onto the pipe that sticks, or the piece that sticks out. Just twist that and that empties your tank. And then there's the garage. Well, as you can see, the near side door isn't big enough for me, but I don't know how many people will be loading a Peter Vaughan into the garage. Let me tell you, it's 96 centimetres high in here and a maximum of 91 centimetres wide. We've got a full-size door on the other side because at this end of the garage, it's the freshwater tank that intrudes into the space. But it has got a useful sort of shelved area above it. Also worth noting with this garage, like this side, main socket, you've got this intrusion here, which I think is from the chassis RCD unit there, again with a bit of shelf space in front of it. But it's quite a good sized garage. You've got tie down points up here and on this side at low level, and you've even got these little access hatches, I presume, for changing the rear light bulbs. Just one other thing, when I picked the van up, it had the infill cushions for the front bed in the garage, and they are large. They take up a lot of space to make this from a 2-berth into a 3-berth van. So the choice is yours, really. Leave the kid at home or leave the deck chairs at home. Down the offside, well, you've got your awning light and a third toilet servicing hatch. Yes, 3 toilets. No, not 3 toilets in this van. This one is your gas locker. It only takes 1 camping gas cylinder, 2.75 kilo cylinder. And, well, that's because your fridge is a compressor one, electric only. Your heating is diesel only. So all you're going to be using that for is a bit of cooking on the hob. Your electric step, well, that doesn't automatically retract, but you're never going to forget it because, yeah, you're never going to forget it. And the habitation door has central locking. Yeah, we didn't get that on the 120 grand Heimer I was in a few weeks ago. Also on the door, well, you've got your fly screen, got this nice trim panel inside, little pockets, maybe your torch or a map or something can go in there, dog lead perhaps. And that really is the outside. So, time to go on board. Now, before I show you the interior of this Dethleffs, I want to show you my favourite new camping toy. It's called the Hand Presso E-Presso Plus. I've had hand presso machines before and been really pleased with them, but this is the latest model. It's got a rechargeable battery. You can use ground coffee, but it's easier when you're on the move, when you're in a van, to use an espresso pod, which you just insert in the bottom there, screw this part back onto the bottom of the unit, and then onto there, and then on the front here, just 2 presses on the button, and in about 3 minutes, I'll have an espresso. So there we are, it's beeped, it's ready, the little red illuminated on-off switch has gone out. And now, well, you've got a cup built in. Just press the button again. And out comes your espresso. And you can make it as strong as you like. It's got the water reservoir at the top, which you fill before you start, obviously. And when you think that's enough, you have an espresso in your van. No need to go to one of the expensive coffee shops. Job done. Now, back to the Dethleffs. And this is the sort of layout that's more popular these days in campervans, with a transverse bed at the back, kitchen at the side, washroom opposite, half dinette lounge and the swivel cab seats. You see hundreds and hundreds of these in campervans, but there are far fewer of these now in coach builds. They used to be called vans, things like Heimer van, hobby van, but there aren't so many of those on the market now. So Dethleffs may have found a bit of a niche to themselves. This one's got the transverse bed at the back. There is another alternative layout with lengthways single beds at the back, but of course that is a longer vehicle, 6.63 metres long. So let's have a look at the dinette. So it is the classic half dinette lounge, as you see in so many European campervans and motorhomes, but nicely detailed. Everything feels very nicely finished, from the upholstery to the furniture. It all feels like a high quality vehicle. You've got nice big opening over cab sunroof, good ambient lighting all around. There's no sort of directional reading lights, which would have been nice for the cab seats, but as I say, general illumination is very, very good. And you've got this backlit frame to the side window, which is quite attractive. A typical wall-mounted table, but it doesn't have the usual swing-out extension so that whoever's sitting here can reach. Instead, you simply slide it out, comme ça. And then here's one I prepared earlier in best Blue Peter traditions. You can store that wherever you like. That just, well, it's a bit basic, but it works. Table's fairly sturdy. And now, if I was to sit here for my dinner, well, I can still reach it. Now, you will note that there is a higher floor in the cab, and I'm more comfortable sitting here than on the rear seats because of the difference in floor level. Most vehicles like this have the raised floor of the cab carried on in front of the half dinette. Unfortunately, Dethleffs hasn't done that, so your feet do tend to dangle a little bit if you're sitting there. That said, I do like the upholstery. You've got automotive style head restraints on the rear passenger seat, as well as, of course, the 3-point belts. You've got a TV bracket above. You've got another big roof light, albeit a push-up one here over the table, really. Window in the door as well. So you've got lots of light coming into this space. I mean, it's only a small van, remember, just 6 metres long. But because it's just that tad wider than a panel van, and you've got the flat sides, it does feel quite a bit roomier than a 6-metre fixed bed camper van. And there are good little details too, like these coat hooks, conveniently just as you come inside the door. It's worth noting too that there are plenty of power points in this van. So you've got a main socket up in the overcab shelf, another one on the seat base here, 2 above the kitchen, 1 on the sort of end of the bed next to the fridge, and another one in the bedroom itself. And then 2 USBs above the table. And so to the kitchen. Well, it is compact, but it does the job. You've got this worktop extension at the end, so you've got a little bit of preparation space, but the table's not far away anyway. Nice backlit splashback, and these little hooks for hanging a few accessories. You can buy extra hooks and extra accessories from Dethleffs or from your Dethleffs dealer. Just stow things away before you drive, because otherwise they're going to drive you mad. Top lockers have hidden catches underneath and nice sturdy hinges. As I say, everything does feel very nicely made. And there's good details too. If you look behind these panels, both in the lounge and in the kitchen you can see that they're vented behind, so you've got a good spread of heat throughout the vehicle. And the kitchen too has these 3 large soft closing drawers, really nice good sized drawers. And then alongside a good sized cupboard with a bin. Now there isn't any option to have an oven, which I know will not please some UK customers, but if you were buying a camper van of this size, well, that probably wouldn't have an oven either. The fridge is this really tall compressor model. Now it's a brand I'd not heard of before. Infigu. German company, but the actual fridge is made in China, and the capacity, total gross capacity, 135.8 litres. That includes the freezer compartment. So really good size compressor fridge. And then under the fridge, you've got a slide out step for easy access into your bedroom. That's a really neat feature. And then at the other end, you've got your heater controls here, and also your typical Dethleffs control panel. Bit of a ship's clock style, bit of a Dethleffs trademark, that. Now, of course, a really important part of a layout like this is the rear bedroom, and that step makes for easy access. And once you're up here, well, the bed's a good size. It's 1.98 metres long, 6'6", by 1.37 metres wide, 4'6". You've got decent headroom, you've got a roof vent, you've got opening windows at each end. So if it's hot and you're in the med, well, you're not going to lack ventilation. However, having a blind at the head of the bed does have the disadvantage of when you want to sit up, well, you're going to have to be careful that you don't damage your blinds. Put a couple of pillows in place though, and you can just sit up, although you will have to be careful not to bang your head on the shelf above. There are 2 reading lights, and they just touch on and off. You've got a main socket and USBs on the shelf above, and even a privacy curtain. And the bed itself is comfy because it's a 7-zone cold foam mattress. Another little detail in the bedroom which I really like is the little elasticated pockets underneath the top lockers for a magazine or a book. There are 2 of those. And then at the foot of the bed you've got your wardrobe. Conventional door at the front for access, or you can lift the whole bed base up on a ratchet system, and then you've also got access to that external locker that I showed you earlier that looked like a toilet hatch, and even a little bit of extra storage on the other side too. Then there's the washroom. Well, you travel with the door clipped open, which is probably better for stopping rattles, but it won't stop any whiffs escaping. Never mind, sitting on this Thetford cassette toilet, well, you have loads of legroom and shoulder room. No shortage of either. You could, in fact, convince yourself that this is a much bigger, more expensive Dethleffs motorhome. Look at the little sparkly finish around the basin. Rather like that. It does feel premium in here. You've got a nice tall cupboard, only thin, but enough space for 2 people's bits and bobs in there. Good sized mirror. The only downside really is just a very small vent in the roof. But more importantly is when you come to shower. And then there's just a simple clip to undo. Swivel the tap out of the way and raise it up to its shower position and swing the basin around. Now there's a little perspex panel fills that gap when the door is closed, but I can't demonstrate that with the door open. But it is a decent sized shower cubicle, plenty of room in here. Headroom's probably just over 6 foot, 2 drains in the tray, so a really good little shower for what is only a very small motorhome. And then, remember those massive cushions that were in the garage? Well, if you remove the backrest and squab cushions from the half-dinette bench, lower the table and put 2 extra legs in to support it, and then the 2 cushions simply go in here. It's one of the better beds of this type, 1.6 metres long, or 5'3" by 94 centimetres wide at this end, at the head end, which is 3'1". So perfectly good enough for a child, and nice and flat for once. You've got a little bit of shape over the front seat, but this sort of evens it out, this cushion, and it's way, way better than most or many beds of this type. But of course you have got to find space for these massive cushions. So, driving this little Dethleffs. Well, when you meet somebody that size coming the other way, you're pleased that you're not in anything too big. And that's the beauty of this van. It doesn't feel really any bigger than a campervan. Yes, the visibility out of it, you haven't got as much glazed area, so perhaps visibility isn't quite so good. But because it's narrow, because it's compact, it's a very easy vehicle to drive. And typical Fiat, you've got a very firm ride, it handles well. Again, it feels like a small vehicle, it's very sure-footed on the road. Never feels like a big motorhome. You've got one of these funny waggly stick things, don't see those very often anymore. Manual gearbox, yeah, and it's a lot better than, a lot less notchy than the Fiat gearboxes used to be. It's very easy to live with. If you don't want to spend the extra £3,000, well, I don't blame you. On a small van like this, wouldn't worry me too much. Conversion noise? Well, you can probably hear a few chatters. The table seems to be the main culprit, and I think that should be fairly easy to solve. It'll just be a bit of adjustment, something perhaps needs tightening up. There seems to be an occasional rattle from the dashboard too, which can't blame Dethleffs for that, we'll blame Fiat for that one. Other than that, the actual furniture, the actual structure of the vehicle, there aren't creaks and groans, there's not rattling doors, there's no chatter from the shower door, nothing like that. So again, it reinforces that feeling that this Dethleffs is, well above average for its build quality. And again, just going around these twisties, it just feels nice. It's sure-footed. So if you can live with the smaller space inside, albeit a little bit bigger than a 6-metre campervan, you do benefit on the road. And of course, this one's got all the spec. You've got the new digital dashboard, you've got the big screen with your Android Auto sat-nav there, you've got the digital air conditioning, you've got your inductive phone charging, electronic handbrake which just comes off automatically as you drive off. So you've got all the kit, I mean, albeit still the nasty cheap hard plastics that you get with a Fiat, but this, in terms of Fiat Ducatos, is as good as it gets. Now, before I sum up, I'd just like to remind you, please subscribe to the channel and also to like this video. It really does help us to continue to bring you this content. And if you're new to the world of campervans and motorhomes, why not pick up a copy of our latest publication, buying your perfect motorhome. Hopefully it will help you to do just that and get exactly the right van for your needs. Is this Dethleffs Globebus Camp Active T1 the right van for your needs? Well, it could be. If you're umming and ahhing between a campervan and a motorhome, we'll take a look at this. It's a good compromise. Just that little bit wider than a campervan, but with, well, a really nice quality interior, a good washroom, nice big fixed bed, garage. Yeah, the lounge area is only quite small, but that is the compromise that you're going to have to get with a 6-metre van with a fixed bed. So, if this is the sort of van you're looking for, then this is a very good example. Thanks for watching. We'll be back with more campervan and motorhome reviews very soon.